So recently there's been a little bit of discussion about a possible revival to the Metal Heroes franchise from Japan, which is yet another big Tokusatsu franchise that really hasn't had super much relevancy since the late 90s. Now here on Toku Topics today, I'm going to be talking about my experience with the Metal Hero franchise because it is easily not very extensive. So the Metal Hero franchise is another popular Tokusatsu franchise that was airing in the 80s and the 90s and things like that in Japan. But unlike Rider and Sentai and Ultraman, now while Ultraman and Rider have had their breaks in terms of programming over the last couple of years and things, in the 90s and things like that, Sentai has been continuing forever. Metal Heroes is one that kind of just had its final shows in the 90s and then just kind of disappeared, with its final shows being Robotac and Kabutak, which were a lot more like kiddie versions, kind of more definitely on the younger age scale of Tokusatsu programming, because we have like these really big robots with like big goofy eyes. They kind of look like the engines from Goanju in a sort of way, before that, And of course, the Metal Hero franchise did come over to the United States in the form of both Big Bad Beetleborgs and VR Troopers, which of course, out of the two Saban Metal Hero adaptations that were released by Shaft Factory and then taken off of Netflix and discontinued from print by Hasbro, I only got the one that the people don't like as much. I don't have Beetleborgs. I need Beetleborgs, but at least I have all of VR Troopers, so I can see Ryan Steele look for his father forever. Yeah. When it comes to a lot of knowledge for the Metal Heroes franchise, I'm kind of at a loss for a lot of it. I know a little bit about things, but I kind of want to just kind of share my thoughts and experiences with the Metal Hero franchise, and I would always be down to learn more about it, of course. Now, I know that the main three Metal Heroes that a lot of people think of are the Space Sheriffs, Gavan, Shider, and Cherivan. Now, of course, these are like the big three that have come back for a lot of different things, or at least like new versions of them have come back in the New Generation films, which came out in like 2012-ish, the early 2010s, around that time frame. My first exposure to the Metal Hero franchise is, a lot of Metal Hero exposure I've had has come from the Super Sentai franchise. Of course, Uju Keiji Gavan had a crossover film with the Gokaigers in it, and that was, I'm pretty confident, the very first time I ever saw anything related to the Metal Heroes franchise. And they keep just trying to do these team-ups with Sentai all the time. And not that Riders haven't interacted with Metal Heroes. It has happened before in like the Superhero Tyson Z film, when both Riders were there alongside Metal Heroes and Sentai. But really, all the times that Toei has tried to bring back the Metal Heroes franchise, it's been in a collaboration with Super Sentai. Like the aforementioned the Gavan vs. Gokaiger film, that was a thing. But then we also had things like the Space Squad film, which was a film alongside the Deca Rangers and Gavan in it. We also had that crossover episode of Q Ranger, which featured both Deca Red and the Gavan Type G, which is kind of the new modern version of Uchikeiji Gavan. So that's interesting that they keep trying to bring this franchise back and always trying to tie it into Sentai. You also had things like Jiraiya, who was a ninja-themed Metal Hero who appeared in Ninja, and then later on we adapted that footage and used him in Power Rangers Ninja Steel as Sheriff Skyfire. We did that for some reason, so we definitely did that. Alright, here, so I got to the first episode of Uchu Gavan Space Cop Gavan, which was uploaded on the Toei Tokusatsu World official channel on YouTube, and has English subtitles, so I'm gonna go ahead and watch this being the very first episode of Metal Heroes that I've ever seen, and we'll see how it goes. Oh yeah, Kenji Oba. How could I forget about that legend? Not only is he Gavan, he's also Battle Kenya in Battle Fever J, and Denji Blue from Denji Man. So, yeah, he's had a lot of awesome roles. I know that one Metal Hero that I always think of, and it's because of Easy Rider, who is another Tokutuber. He did a video more than half a decade ago at this point, where he ranked some of his favorite Metal Hero openings. And one of them was Janperson, and he made fun of the whole thing there. It's like, Janperson fights for justice.
Janperson fights for justice!
And so now, I literally cannot hear the word Janperson without thinking of fights for justice. And that's all I know about him. He's a cop, basically a RoboCop. He fights for justice, and he's purple. So that's pretty cool. He's a cool looking dude. I like Janperson. Not only did Sentai have, crossovers with the teams, they even made it into the Ranger Key line. So they did these back in 2017. These are one of the newer Ranger Key sets that came out. And I'm a big fan of these ones. So this was the Ranger Key set Metal Hero Edition, which had nothing to do with Sentai. These ones are the ones for the Space Sheriffs. It was a set of 10 Metal Hero keys, which were kind of the main protagonists of the different series that weren't featured in the previous Ranger Key set for the Metal Heroes, which was Ranger Key set Complete Edition, which featured the 6 different versions of the Metal Heroes that were used by the Gokaigers in Superhero Tyson Z, since they actually used those to transform into Metal Heroes. So that set had Jiraiya in it, it had Gavan in it, it had Beat Fighter Kabuto, and it had, Blue Beats and things like that in there. So that makes sense that, we got that kind of set, and then it kind of makes sense that we got the sequel set. It would have been a lot more out of left field if we hadn't already gotten that set before. But unlike, they actually have more Metal Hero keys than they do Kamen Rider keys. But still, these aren't even from the franchise that Ranger keys come from. But we have them anyway.
Gavan Dynamic!
Ooh, cut him in half. Nice. Straight down the middle there. That was the first episode of Gavan. I thought it was pretty fun. I liked it. It was like a typical Toku plot, typical pilot and things like that, but for the most part, I thought it was pretty cool. The effects, obviously are dated, but for the time, they're pretty good. And, I just think it's a fun setup. You kind of have, this alien space cop guy, where his mother's from Earth, his father's from the planet Bird. So, fun stuff there. Don't know what's called the planet Bird when he has, a dragon and things like that, but, Toku.
So that's all I got for today's episode on the Metal Hero franchise. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Toku Topics. You can follow me on Twitter at 2 different places, at Living Ranger Key or at LightningFigPR. And let me know if you guys would like more of these Toku Talk videos where I just kind of rant at the camera for a minute, because I like to make them. So until next time, everyone, Tokusatsu forever.